Hey, friends. So, something that has been showing up in the last literally 24 hours since the holiday, it feels like the holiday season has officially started. Families in town, cousins are playing together. We're off. Here we are. And I have had a sense that so much of what I reflect on and what I've spent time talking about on this post and what I spend time thinking about and working with in my kind of daily practice is looking at patterns and hopefully, in an ideal world, I'm sort of becoming more and more conscious of them and dissolving the ones that are not helpful, installing new ones that are more in alignment, and just there's a kind of ongoing anabolic, catabolic, dissolving and rebuilding process that's continually happening. And one of the features of that is regular routine practices like meditation, like a physical practice, like piano practice, a writing practice. Those are all kind of regular things that I have installed because I've just learned that I need those practices in my life in order to remain in reflection upon the patterns that are more unconscious, that are more just kind of the ones that I run without thinking about it, the ones that I catch myself running and have to go, wait, what's happening here? And but what's happening recently over again, this is kind of just as the holiday season seems to kick into full swing. Like I got up this morning, went and did my yoga routine, but I woke up late because we were up late because we're a bunch of people in the house, we're hanging out. So I woke up a little later than usual. So I got up a little later than usual. So I went out and I'm doing my yoga routine, and all of a sudden one of Annalise's cousins comes running in because he's awake. And I was actually almost done by that point, so it wasn't really an interruption. But I realized, oh, right, we're back into that phase of things when the regular routines, my cherished practices, are likely to get interrupted. They're likely to get they're likely to get kicked up a bit. They're likely to not go quite the way they do in my regular life. Now, there are some things that I've been just super, super duper regular about. And that I intend to continue. But what showed up for me out of all this is that these routines and these practices are their own form of pattern, obviously. And so unless I'm reevaluating the routines periodically, I'm not saying reevaluate every day. We don't want to necessarily install a routine and then after 1 week start questioning it because we don't know what it's going to do for us. If some things have a timeline, piano practice. If you're reevaluating every week or so whether you want to be practicing piano, you're going to be in trouble because there's going to be plenty of times when it feels like this is going nowhere, this is going backwards, this is a waste of time, I should stop. Or meditation practice, anything that is a profound and deep formative practice. Not that we don't want to reevaluate it, but we want to kind of give it a chance. Give that oak tree a chance to grow from an acorn. It takes time. So, and at the same time, what I think I'm bumping up against right now is these, and I noticed this over the summer as well when we had a similarly sort of family-tastic couple of weeks in like July, is that actually kind of kicking up the dust and letting my routines kind of be shaken up a bit is kind of helpful. And because there are some things about, I was even speaking about this post a couple days ago and looking at really what is my next step with this. Is there a next step? Doesn't have to be. It could just be exactly what it is and continue being that. But part of me at least wants to investigate what this practice might be nudging me towards, instead of kind of just passively. Coming in early January, it will have been 2 years that I've done a daily video post every single day. So yeah, I'm just considering that routine, but all of my routines really. Even my yoga practice, which is something that I kind of cherish and feel like, oh my gosh, I can't change that. How could I change that? It's what I do in the morning, and I know how it affects my body. I know what it gives me as a kind of physical foundation for life. But I'm trying to embrace the interruption of those routines and embrace the slight bit of chaos that gets introduced, and that where I'm kind of on the horse, off the horse, letting myself kind of be a little looser than usual. Because I think, first of all, some routines are really resilient. Some practices are really resilient, and they are kind of unshakable. Doesn't matter what time I go to bed, doesn't matter what time I get up, I won't miss. Other routines are more negotiable. They're important, and they have to be really regular, but there's actually value in the in-breath, out-breath aspect of them. The kind of, now they're expanding and taking up more space, now they're contracting and taking up less space and time. And as somebody who is very much kind of soothed and grounded by my practices and by my routines, it's just a helpful reminder that they are, in fact, chosen routines. They're chosen practices. I can change them. There may be things about them that would be better if I would change them, or if I would consider alternatives, consider modifications. But but a lot of times those modifications don't just come up. They don't. I'm not provoked to think of them in the course of a kind of day in, day out practice. It's actually the interruptions to the practice that give me a chance to go, wait, what is it about, how could this be modified? How could this be even more helpful? How could this become an even more beneficial practice for me? So this is part, routine reevaluation mode that I'm letting myself be in. And part embracing the interruption, just letting, like I realized this morning, like I was about to go meditate when my nephew Roman came in. And then I was like, but then I sat there with him for 20 minutes and we played with the Christmas tree lights, and then we went in and made orange juice, and then we started making breakfast. I was like, what? How? This is like, what more grounding, affirming practice? What could meditation possibly give me that I'm not already getting? How could I? And there is a time when I would have felt a restriction around not meditating, because it would have felt like, I'm not doing the practice. which already tells me the practice is attached to some result that's intellectual, because otherwise, because the purpose of the practice is to embrace and accept and engage in every moment. That's the purpose. That's what meditation is. I mean, that's what it's teaching us, is to give into every arising moment. So if I'm not doing that because I want to go meditate because that's what I'm used to, bam, I already know I'm off track. So this morning there was no friction. It was just kind of a nice little, oh, right. And as I felt myself make that shift, I recognized, oh, this is a good mode to be in. This is the approach we want to take for the next couple of weeks, because it's going to be like this. And there's so much value, not just in the interactions themselves and the kind of, the kind of chance to be close to family and loved ones that we don't see that often, but also because it just gives us a little, it gives me a little, it provokes me to kind of have a different perspective. It gives me the opportunity for a different perspective. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to reevaluate some of these routines and to let the interruptions actually be the practice, right? That's an interesting concept, that the interruptions are the practice. Doesn't mean we don't need really consistent practice, but then what happens when the big waves come? What happens when we go off balance? What happens when the landscape's not the same as it was? That's the practice. That's also the practice. That's as much the practice as the sort of day in, day out regularity. So yeah, that's where I've landed. Hope you're all having a wonderful holiday season so far. All the love in the world. I will see you soon.